SCP-5065 Man of Many Mysteries. Object Class Keter. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-5065 is currently contained in Cell 93, Revision 35D of the Standard Low-Risk Humanoid Containment Cell. Cell 93 is to be revised and modified under the direction of Research Head Dr. Jack H. Woodson and Head Investigator Canton Lodge to prevent the possibility of further containment breaches. Revisions are detailed in Document 5065, Locked Room. If SCP-5065 is discovered outside of its containment cell, ask it to accompany you back into containment and immediately use the 5065 pager to inform assigned staff. Unless SCP-5065's breach involves another entity, do not signal a standard breach. Discovery. SCP-5065 is a human male determined to be Henry James, an author of several mystery novels under the pen name Willard Darnell. SCP-5065 was declared a missing person a year prior to his containment. SCP-5065 has proven to be extremely difficult to contain and has been able to escape situations in which escape was deemed impossible, including several Foundation attempts to contain it. SCP-5065 was discovered in Foundation Site Redacted, having passed several security measures to prevent infiltration without proper clearance. SCP-5065 was immediately captured and interrogated through heavy physical coercion. Extremely efficient coercion techniques such as data expunged were employed, with a 100% coercion success rate on non-anomalous humans and 76% on anomalous humanoids with properties that allow them to withstand the extreme conditions of the process for much longer. Despite this, SCP-5065 was unfazed throughout the entire process. Questioning resulted in SCP-5065 simply responding by saying, "Torture is unnecessary and effective. Please just put me in one of your containment facilities. I'm very clearly anomalous." A negotiator reached better results, yet not to a much higher degree. SCP-5065 assured the negotiator that he posed no danger to any personnel, claimed his resistance was anomalous in nature, and requested the Foundation contain and study it. SCP-5065 was placed in a standard low-risk humanoid containment cell, as it had shown no resistance thus far. SCP-5065 was to be moved to a fitting containment cell once the nature of its anomalous properties was discovered. Incident Report 5065-1 3 hours after the initial placement of SCP-5065 in containment, an extremely localized power outage caused a 60-second window in which surveillance systems on SCP-5065 went offline. SCP-5065 was no longer in its containment cell, and standard containment breach procedures were enacted. 2 minutes and 39 seconds after the power outage, SCP-5065 was found in Break Room 24. SCP-5065 had not yet changed into the provided standard humanoid containment uniform, and staff present in the break room had assumed SCP-5065 was an agent from another site and had begun conversing with it. SCP-5065 was promptly restrained and returned to its containment cell. Dr. Woodson immediately arranged an impromptu interview with SCP-5065 and was accompanied by 2 guards. Interview Log 5065-4 Interviewed SCP-5065 Interviewer Dr. Jack Woodson. Begin Log. Dr. Woodson: Are you aware of what your anomalous properties entail? Could you provide a description of what you're capable of? SCP-5065. My passion for my work was the anomalous property I spoke of when you first captured me. It might not be enough to be considered anomalous to you, though. Could you elaborate? How are you capable of bypassing Foundation security measures? Don't expect me to be as forthcoming with information in the future, but it's only fair that I set the proper tone. As you know, I'm an author. And as you might have guessed, I fill a certain trope. My work is my passion, and I strive to take it to the highest of heights. In pursuit of that goal, I've learned several skills necessary to help me see all that the world has to offer. I'll provide an example. Please, stop your guards before they damage my face. SCP-5065 lunges his arms towards Dr. Woodson's. The handcuffs restraining SCP-5065 seem to slide onto Woodson's arms. The guards attempt to incapacitate SCP-5065 before they're stopped by Dr. Woodson. Please explain how you're capable of performing these feats. SCP-5065 tosses a bent paperclip to Dr. Woodson. Footnote 1. Investigation determined this paperclip was obtained by Dr. Redacted in the break room. Dr. Redacted claims he was unaware the paperclip went missing. That is your job, is it not? I'd never be so disrespectful as to claim I could do it for you. My job is to create mystery. Yours is to investigate it. Simply put, I'm going to continue to create inexplicable situations, and the Foundation is to provide an explanation. If you can do this without resorting to simply chalking it up to some anomalous property I supposedly possess, then I will behave myself. End log. Closing statement. SCP-5065 refused to answer any additional questions. Classification Report 5065-2. SCP-5065 has been found to be capable of breaching containment through means yet unknown. Classification is to be changed from Euclid to Keter. Signed, Dr. Jack H. Woodson. Incident Reports 5065-2-24 summarized. Various methods of containing SCP-5065 has been ineffective. Any attempts to relocate SCP-5065 to a high-risk humanoid containment cell or any other containment cell has resulted in SCP-5065 escaping and returning to his cell. Attempts to physically restrain SCP-5065 has proven to be equally ineffective. Regardless of the restraint used, SCP-5065 either escapes containment before the guards arrive to restrain it, uses the restraints on the guards, or simply escapes the restraints once they're placed. So far, it has been found to be capable of escaping handcuffs and straitjackets with ease. SCP-5065 has managed to escape containment whenever anomalous means of containment were en route to SCP-5065's cell. SCP-5065 would only return once the anomalous means were returned to their own containment. Task Force AT was founded to investigate and determine the methods SCP-5065 uses in its containment breaches, and improve containment to prevent further containment breaches, and to predict and preemptively prevent SCP-5065's attempts at escape. Canton Lodge was assigned as head investigator in regards to SCP-5065. Transfer Request 5065-6. Requesting off-site transfer of SCP-5065. SCP-5065 likely predicted its placement in Site-88. It is shown to be extremely familiar with the structure and layout of the facility, especially the low-risk humanoid containment area, and he's used this knowledge in several of its escape attempts. Transfer of SCP-5065 to a site it would not have been placed in following standard classification procedures would likely limit its ability to escape containment. Signed, Dr. Jack H. Woodson. Request denied. SCP-5065, by your own admission, has proven extremely difficult to contain. Movement of SCP-5065 could potentially allow it access to higher priority entities. Appropriate support in containing SCP-5065 has been administered in the form of Task Force Agra Treasure. Signed, Dr. Redacted. Minor attempts at appeasement have proven to dissuade SCP-5065 from attempting frequent breaches, and the severity of breaches has also been shown to decrease. SCP-5065 had entered the containment cells of several other nearby entities and had continued to do so weekly until its demands were met. It requested it be allowed to continue wearing tuxedos and suits rather than the assigned uniform, and requested writing supplies. Additionally, it also requested that any books it wrote be made available to Foundation personnel. After a month of negotiation, these requests were granted as SCP-5065's escapades threatened the containment of the other on-site anomalous entities. Tuxedos, suits, and writing equipment would be provided by the Foundation under strict regulations contained in Document 5065 Locked Room. SCP-5065 insists it will not use the provided equipment in anything counter to Foundation interests. Security Request 5065-3. SCP-5065 has demanded it be given and allowed to wear tuxedos and suits. Additionally, requested writing materials as well as for the Foundation to allow personnel to read any books it writes. It is certainly understandable that such demands might not be feasible. However, if the uniform request is accepted, it would make containment of SCP-5065 much more manageable. Currently, it's proven too difficult to prepare proper containment procedures with the frequency of containment breaches. The safety and secrecy of other on-site SCPs has become threatened as well. As such, I feel this request may be worth considering. As for the writing, I fear SCP-5065 may be able to produce anomalous effects using its books, as I otherwise see no reason as to why it would want Foundation personnel to read them. It's also not feasible, as it's possible they could contain confidential information. Signed, Dr. Jack H. Woodson. Request accepted. SCP-5065 will be provided with appropriate clothing and allowed to wear them. SCP-5065 will be given writing equipment as well. No evidence of its books producing anomalous effects has been discovered. The books it writes will be thoroughly examined for confidential information and placed in on-site libraries and break rooms should they contain none. Signed, Dr. Redacted. Task Force AT investigations have begun to prove effective at combating SCP-5065. Containment breaches have become much less frequent, and an increasing amount of planned escapes have been stopped mid-execution. Audio log 5065-32 between Research Head Dr. Woodson and Head Investigator Canton Lodge provides an overview of Task Force AT's findings in regards to SCP-5065's anomalous properties. Begin log. Investigator Lodge. We've covered all the major bases. Send in the request, Woodson. Dr. Woodson. Hold on. We have? Last I heard, our only major breakthrough was determining one way he could have performed his first infiltration without being anomalous, and even then we can't definitely prove it. Forget that. We'll record a less honest one later. Anyway, what about his torture resistance? Even if we explained his constant breakouts, that alone is enough to keep him contained. New AT girl, Cassie, I forget her specialization. I had her review the coercion footage to haze her. She figured it was possible he self-administered modified E-class amnestics. Made it so that he couldn't really think about the torture too much. It adds up with what we've got so far. Still, I'm not sold. You don't just think up all this without being anomalous in some way. We're not anomalous, but we can still figure out how he plans and how he does most of what he does. If we can think it up, so can he. I'm sure he's not anomalous. If the Foundation wants to get rid of this headache, then they just need to accept that he's an explained entity. They can neutralize him or brainwash him or whatever it is they do to enemies of the Foundation. He knows that too. Every time you try and close in on him, he just sets up something else we just can't explain. I feel like by trying to solve everything he does, you're just prompting more incidents. We're closing in on him. Just a bit longer and we won't have to worry about it anymore. It's either that or we just let him pull these stunts whenever he feels like it instead of out of necessity. We've made it much harder for him to pull anything. We just have to keep at it a bit longer. End log. Level 4 clearance detected. Hidden report available. Item number SCP-5065. Object class Euclid. Level 4 confidential classification. We have reason to believe that SCP-5065 is a reality bender. Covert research has determined that if this theory proves to be true, SCP-5065 has little control or knowledge of his abilities, and only uses them to create solvable mysteries, once following an altered version of Ronald Knox's 10 Commandments. The most effective and least labor resource intensive method of containment has been discovered to be preoccupying SCP-5065. It believes Task Force Agra Treasure is the best the Foundation has to offer. As such, it develops its mysteries specifically for them to solve. These mysteries are relatively harmless, as it does not want to be wholly antagonized. This information is not to be shared with SCP-5065 or members of Task Force Agra Treasure. Research regarding SCP-5065 has proven to be most effective when done covertly, and the system of revising Cell 93 to make it incrementally more difficult for it to escape has proven to be an effective way of incrementally testing the capabilities of SCP-5065. Signed, Dr. Redacted. Thank you for listening to SCP-5065, Man of Many Mysteries, by Onunako no Au. If you enjoyed this SCP, please like and subscribe, and follow the link in the description to the SCP Wiki, and vote up the article to support the author and the SCP Wiki as a whole.